If you're feeling burnt out, I'm going to say something that might sound completely counterintuitive. Burnout is not from working too much. And that's something I discovered several years back when I felt that the answer to burnout was actually to cut work hours out. And I'm going to walk you through what I do now to avoid burnout, or when it's starting to come on, to completely skip over burnout and lead back into joy, energy, momentum as soon as possible. Hi, my name is Trevor Mock, the host of this YouTube channel and podcast, of course. And I'm the CEO of a company called Carrot.com, and I coach dozens of entrepreneurs to help them grow the businesses that they love, grow a business that they don't grow to resent. And one of the challenges that happens as an entrepreneur, especially as a new entrepreneur trying to figure it out, or as you're trying to delegate things, you're hitting those pain lines, is we grow these businesses that start to own us, right? We've talked about that here on the Entrepreneur Freedom Formula, that we unintentionally grow businesses that own us. And I've asked this question many, many times here on the Entrepreneur Freedom Formula of what did you hire that business to do for you? Right? What did you hire your business to do for you? Or if you don't have a business and you're watching this video and you're an employee in another business, amazing. What did you hire that job to do for you? And then ask the question, is that business, is that job doing that for me or not? And if it's not, you need to make a change. I'm going to walk you through how to avoid burnout in our work, how to avoid burnout in a completely unconventional way, using a model that I called the momentum meter that I created. I'm going to walk you through it here in a second visually. So if you're listening to this on the podcast, I'm going to do my best to be able to walk you through and create that visual story in your mind in the podcast. But venture over to YouTube, look me up, Trevor Mock. That's MAUCH, Entrepreneur Freedom Formula, and find this video on avoiding burnout. All right. So the first concept that I introduced this video with is that burnout does not come from working too much. Okay. Where burnout actually comes from is not doing the things outside of work that give us the most energy. And I remember when I first came across this, when I first thought of this concept years and years back, because I always thought, and I was taught by other people, that when you get burnout, it means you're working too much, you're working too many hours, you're putting too many hours in. But we can all remember when we were starting the business, or a point in our business, or in our job, when we were working crazy hours, long hours, we were working our butts off and we were loving it, right? We were full of energy. We were full of excitement. Momentum was happening. And you're like, man, I just feel like if I could bottle this up right now, man, I'll rule the world. But something happened later on then, right? At some point, those work hours stopped paying off into joy, stopped paying off into momentum. They stopped paying off into progress towards the goals that you wanted to go. And they started more paying off in the opposite. They started draining your energy, sucking the life out of you. We started to justify why we needed to cut something out of our lives that we loved so we could work more to push through this season. I did a video on that recently that I'll link up at the end of this YouTube video on how to feel like you again when you feel tempted to just put your head down and grind through it because you think you need to work more hours. Keep an eye out for that one at the end of this YouTube video, or head over to YouTube if you're on the podcast side. Okay, so we're going to hop into my momentum meter. Now, I do have a video just on the topic where I kind of introduced the topic of the momentum meter. But over the months, over the time since I made that video, I've worked with so many of my clients in my Epic coaching program, where I coach real estate entrepreneurs from about 300K to 12 million, how to build businesses they don't grow to resent. How do they grow businesses that they grow to love, right? And a couple dynamics have popped up during that. So the first thing is get you to recognize once again that burnout is not from working too much. Well, what is it from then? Well, in the momentum meter, when you go up and to the left, that is the side of our lives that is rest. Okay, even biblically, if you dive into the Bible, God spent 6 days building the earth, and the seventh he rested. And all throughout Scripture, Jesus is resting. Right? He's going and retreating. He's resting. He's pulling away after he had a chance to dive deep into his work. And it's the same thing here internally, whether we're an entrepreneur or have a job or just a human being, right? We need to pendulum back and forth from rest to work, from rest to work. And when we tend to get burnt out, it's that we're not pulling up into rest enough. And then therefore, when we don't pull up into rest enough, just like a pendulum does, when you let that go, it goes to the equal and opposite side of that pendulum. And you don't then go up into transformational work. You don't do your best work. Okay. So when we're burnt out, we're only pulling up into rest, up into this red zone called distraction. Now, once again, I'm going to be walking you through and painting the best verbal picture I can to those in the podcast, but I'd highly encourage you to go to YouTube, find Trevor Mock, Entrepreneur Freedom Formula, and look for the Momentum Meter episode or this one here about avoiding burnout. So when we're in burnout, we're pulling up to distraction, and then we let go, and then we go to busy work. So we're only going up into rest as far as distraction goes. And so therefore, if we're always distracted, we're diving into busy work. We don't have the time to focus and make decisions, to have the energy to go deep and to do our best work. So we bounce back and forth, distraction, busy work, distraction, busy work, distraction, busy work. Does this sound familiar to you? What is that distraction for you? Is it your cell phone? Are you picking up the cell phone and doom scrolling on Instagram? Well, that was mine. Okay, this was recently, probably 6-8 months ago. I was feeling a point of burnout coming on. And the first thing I want you to recognize to avoid burnout is to recognize if you are in burnout, it's likely that you're not getting to rest enough and you're staying distracted. The thing that keeps us distracted is this next thing I'm drawing on here, which is kind of between the border of distracted and physical energy. Distraction is the red zone, and we want to get out of the red zone. The thing that we need to figure out is, what is our vice? What vices are we reaching into? What are the vices that we're distracting ourselves with? Once we can identify the vice or the vices that we're pulling into to numb the pain, to numb the reality, to really pull away from the decisions we have to make, to feel that jolt of kind of joy of that momentary energy that we got from watching a reel, that we got from flipping through and looking at a bunch of things, that we got from that unhealthy food, or that we got from drugs or alcohol or pornography or whatever it is that is your vice. Identify that vice to get out of burnout. That's step one. Okay. Step one to get out of burnout and to avoid burnout is to identify your vice. Number two, once you identify the vice, we ruthlessly eliminate the vice in our life. Okay. It's insanely hard to be fired up and high energy and moving in momentum if we're always going into a energy draining vice. So we remove that. Now we set ourselves on a playing field, have an insanely strong foundation to now grow from. So how do you ruthlessly eliminate the vice? Well, it depends on the vice, but I'll walk you through what I did with my phone a number of months ago. So there's an app called Opal. It's OPAL. And Opal is an amazing app that's way better than Screen Time on Apple. Because with Screen Time, I don't know if any of you guys and gals can relate. Pop in the comments below here on YouTube if you can. That Screen Time, as long as you know the code, and we're stuck on that vice, we're just wrapped around the axle with that vice, we will put that code in and we will all day long just bypass our Screen Time code to get into that vice. Okay, so Opal eliminates that. And I started to put down lockdowns on Opal. I have 45-minute screen time in Instagram, Facebook, X, and LinkedIn. I don't have TikTok, but I only get 45 minutes of total screen time in social media apps per day. I rarely ever even hit that anymore. Before I did this, I was in social media 1, 2, 3 hours a day, which is insane. No wonder I was being burnt out. Okay. The next thing that I did is I created an unlock cap. I can only unlock those apps a max of 5 times per day total across all those apps. And I can only be in those apps a max of 15 minutes per session. So if you look at that, that really controls that I have to now use social media as a tool rather than a vice. Whenever I log in there now, it's a tool. It's a tool to post. It's a tool to educate. It's a tool to connect and engage. It's not a vice anymore. And after about 2 weeks of going through that and ruthlessly putting blockers and systems and people and accountability in place to eliminate the vice, I started to get my brain back. I started to get excitement again. I started to see a vision again. I started to rewire the brain and have those good influences on my mind. What I replaced now, so we want to eliminate the vice is the first thing. Eliminate the vice, then we want to replace it with something healthy. Okay, so what I replaced that vice with is a book on my nightstand and scripture in the morning. So I read Proverbs every morning. It's about 1 proverb a day. I've been doing that for going on 4, 5, 6 months now, and gone through Proverbs, that many times. And I have a book on my nightstand in any given time. So those are the times when I would normally pick up that phone. Okay, so now those are gone. Righty. So eliminate the vice. replace it with something healthy that pours into you. The next step now is we pull up into the momentum meter even further, and we've got to get to physical energy. So going back down to that quote, that burnout is not from working too many hours. It's not from working too much. It's from not doing the things outside of work that you enjoy the most. It's from cutting the things out of your life that you love the most. It's from cutting out the workouts because you are too busy. It's from cutting out the date nights or the date mornings because you're too busy. It's from cutting out the hobbies and the time with your friends because you're too busy. It's from cutting out all the things that you love the most that your business is built to fulfill and built to serve. You're cutting those out so you can put more work hours in and go further down the burnout hole. Okay. So the very next thing is we pull up into physical energy. So we put in place a process and accountability that gets us into physical energy every single day. For me, that's a workout in my gym here in the office with my buddies. They come in for accountability. There's 4 guys. All 4 don't always show up, but there's guaranteed to be at least 2 to 3 people here, even when I'm out of town now. It's kind of become an amazing, just a ritual of fellowship and fitness. And so that's 3 days a week. Okay, the other days I have other things. So Thursday morning, which is the time that I'm recording this video, is sauna and cold plunge days. So I drop the kids off at school and I head over to another buddy's house, and some of us get together and we cold plunge in the cold river and we do a few rotations of sauna and just talk and have fellowship. It lights me up. It gives me life and it gets me ready for the day physically. Okay. So find out what works for you. It could be a walk. One thing I was recognizing is a lot of my energy draining and burnout time was coming from not the activities I was doing, but the fact that I was sitting behind a desk all the time doing them. And so I started to look at my afternoon meetings and said, well, do I need to keep those meetings? Number one, do they give me energy? Can someone else do them, or can I eliminate them? But number two, can I take any of those meetings as walking meetings? Can I go outside if it's nice and walk and talk and do them over the phone instead? And so I started taking more walking meetings, and I worked with my executive assistant, Danny, and said, hey, Danny, I think all these meetings can just be walk and talks. And so now we do a lot of walk and talks. So look at what gives you energy. It could be walking. It could be working out. It could be cold plunge and sauna. It could be biking or road biking. It could be whatever it is. I don't care what it is. But I want you to make the decision that you're going to add that back to your life right now, today, tomorrow at the latest, and make a calendar change. We get through burnout by making a decision and a calendar change. On the other side of a decision and a calendar change is energy, joy, momentum, progress, growth. A decision and a calendar change. We stay in burnout because of indecision and default mode. We stay in burnout because of indecision and default mode. I'm not making decisions that I need to make. I'm avoiding saying no to things. I'm saying too many yeses. I'm not making decisions that change my circumstance. So therefore, I shouldn't expect anything different. A decision and a calendar change. Okay. So next thing, after you get physical energy, you let go of that pendulum. It flies over to the work side. It flies over to the doing side, and you're producing it. The producing side of the momentum meter, that's where you're earning a good living. You're doing really good at your craft. You're showing up and adding value to the world. You're doing things well that get compensated back. Okay. It's hard to get paid well when we're in burnout. It's hard to get paid well when we're just pulling up into distraction and busy work. That's what leads us into frustration and eventually failure. But when we have physical energy and we're fired up and we've eliminated those vices, that right there, that you can earn an amazing living. You can have a good life just living in that zone of the momentum meter. Physical energy, distraction gone, vices gone, production, physical energy, bam. That routine right there can be an amazing routine. But you're not watching this video or listening to this podcast because you want something good, right? You want the best life you can possibly live, I'm assuming. Okay. And so the next phase now is pulling up and to the left even more to accelerate getting out of burnout, to accelerate the chance to remove the chance that burnout even happens in the future. Because we're not just talking about how do we get out of the burnout that you're in. We're talking about how do we create decisions and calendar changes right now in your life that eliminate the chance of burnout moving forward in the future. Okay. So now we pull up into mental clarity, and same thing. We've got to put in a process, a system, accountability that guarantees this happens every day. But what helps you be mentally clear? Because one of the things that gets us into burnout is, once again, we aren't clear on what we should be working on. We aren't clear on the decisions or the priorities that we're supposed to make. We aren't clear why we should be doing this and not doing this. We aren't clear on that vision. The vision should drive the decision. We aren't clear what we want. When we're not clear, we just go back and forth to distraction because we're avoiding the hard decisions. We're avoiding doing the things that we should be doing to get us where we want to go. So, what are the things that help you be mentally clear? Is it meditation? Is it going on those walks, just in silence? Is it massages? Is it pulling away and doing big jogs? What is it that gets you mentally clear? For me, the things that help give me mentally clear, that these are things I do every day. Number one, I read. Okay. I've literally never listened to an entire audiobook in my life. So all you audiobook creators out there, I love you to death. I've never listened to an audiobook in my life. Listened to a lot of videos, a lot of podcasts, but I've never listened to an audiobook. The reason for me is because I tend to read books for two reasons. One reason is to get the knowledge out of it. The second reason is to get my mind to slow down. When I listen to audios or watch videos, or if you're listening to an audiobook, the challenge is you can do multiple different things at once. You can be listening to an audiobook and driving. You can be listening to an audiobook and trying to get work done. You can be listening to an audiobook and doing whatever. But you can't hyper focus. And for me, those types of things actually amplify and make my brain speed up, not make it slow down. So I'm going to read. Okay, reading daily, reading 10 pages a day is one of those things that helps me get mentally clear, helps me slow down, helps me process. Okay, another one of those things along the reading side of things. Once again, I read Proverbs daily as well, just one proverb a day. If it's the 28th of the month, I read Proverb 28. And I read that every single month. And so next month, I'm going to read it again and I make notes. It helps me get mentally clear, helps me make decisions, helps me process things. Okay. What else helps you get mentally clear? Well, if you're clear on your goals and you had a chance to sit down and write your goals or write that vision, or write down an identity statement on what you need to do or who you want to become, it oftentimes helps me get clear just reading that again, right? What intention do I have? What did I say I want to move towards? And so on my phone, I have a Apple Note, and it's called, I'm recording this in 2025, but it's called my 2025 intentions and goals. And I got geeky with this, and I found that I wasn't looking at this often enough. That got me back into clarity on my vision, my goals every day. And so I created an automation through Apple Shortcuts that brings this Apple Note up in front of me 3 times a day. It requires me to look at it, acknowledge it. And even though sometimes I'll still hit the cancel button and move on it, I do look at that every single day. It helps me get clear. It helps me get excited again. When I'm in a down moment, we want to be excited about where we're moving towards. Otherwise, we won't take action. We'll stay in distraction. Okay. So what are the things that help you get mentally clear? Between the workouts, between walk and talks, between reading, between looking at my goals. If things are really hard for me and I really can't get myself into a mentally clear state, I will then turn on a Joe Dispenza meditation audio and I'll listen to that for 10 minutes. Okay, but what gets you mentally clear? Have a daily attitude, a daily action, a daily non-negotiable to do these things that give you life, give you clarity. When you do that, y'all, you let that go. The pendulum swings to the right, up into the work area, but you go even higher this time. You go into the next level, which I call creating your art. When you're creating your art, that's when you're in the flow, right? That's when you're in the zone. That's when you're creating the things you're going, man, I could do this all the time, even if I don't get paid for it. But the cool thing is when you're creating your art and you do it well and you do it long enough, it can get you paid insanely well. I've got a friend named Ari. I met Ari years and years and years ago. And I met him in Costa Rica, and he was a business guy, a marketing guy. He didn't love it. He was good at it. But what he loved was literally creating art. Okay. He painted, he did sculptures. He was okay at it. He wasn't that great at it until he made a commitment. He made a decision and a calendar change to make art a daily non-negotiable for him. So he made a commitment to do a new piece of art every single day of his life. And he's still done one now. And he's, I think, going on 7, 8, 9 years of creating a new piece of art every single day since that commitment. How has that changed? Number one, his art got better. Okay, number two, but because his art got better, he honed his talent, he honed his craft, he became world class, and now he earns a more than full-time income fully on his art. He has paintings in William Shatner's house, he has paintings in other celebrities' houses, because he decided to say, what is my art? What do I love doing? What do I want to hone? What craft do I want to hone? How do I dive into that, make that a part of my daily non-negotiable? For him, his art turned into a career. Okay. So now, guys, let's say you're eliminating your vice, you're getting out of distraction zone, you're getting physical energy, it's on your calendar, you're doing the things that give you mental clarity, those are on the calendar, and you're doing that enough to where now you're just cranking on the work side. You're going to get out of the business rut. Eventually, you swing up all the way to the left into transformation on the personal side. You've started to gain confidence now. You're following through on commitments. You're making things happen. Confidence gains. And now you start to open up to a new vision. You start to peel back the onion of yourself. You start to remove those limiting beliefs, and you start to feel a new vision. That new vision now is even more exciting to you than the previous vision. It's not brand new. It's the next level of the vision, because now you've removed limiting beliefs. You've seen what's possible. You've stacked some confidence. That now gets you to see a bigger vision for your business, a bigger vision for your role in your business, with more energy, more contribution, more momentum. And then your business vision changes and your business starts to transform. Guys, this right here is the pendulum. This is the momentum meter that can help you avoid and stay out of burnout forever if we stick to this. The times that I start to slip back in towards inching towards burnout is when I miss my workouts a couple days because I made them negotiable. It's because I didn't get my reading done or read those goals for a week because I made them negotiable. It's because I added a new vice to my life, or I made my existing vice too easy to get back into. I compromised my commitment. I compromised the decision to get that vice out of my life, and it went back in. As soon as those things creep back in and we don't leverage the momentum meter to get them out and keep them out forever, then we start to go back into burnout, guys. So if this resonates with you, pop a comment below. Number one, are you in burnout? Are you having similar challenges? But number two, what's the current vice right now that you drift off to? What is the vice that you drift off to right now while you're in burnout mode that is draining the energy, draining the life, dropping your confidence that you need to eliminate today? That's step one. Once we get that taken care of, now it's behind. Now the rest of it's just decisions and calendar changes. Decide what gives you energy, change your calendar to support it. Decide what gives you mental clarity, change your calendar to support it. And then do those things every single day. You'll get out of burnout, and you'll really start to grow with momentum, with energy, with joy far more often. So guys, hopefully this video resonates with you. I've walked through this model so many times this past 2-3 weeks with my Epic members who are feeling the same pull that you may be feeling, that the world pulls on you. That when you get stressed, when things get hard, you cut out the very things that give you life and joy, so you can just work more. Guys, that's the opposite. That's not the answer. When things get hard, you add the things back in that give you the most life. You add the things back in that give you the most energy. You add the things back in that give you the most mental clarity and slow your brain down. You don't speed up, you slow down. That'll get you out of burnout. It'll keep you out of burnout and keep you in joy. So if you guys enjoy this topic, I recorded a video and a podcast just recently that kind of takes it to the next level, that talks about how to become you again. If you feel like you've lost you, if you feel like you've been in burnout for so long, or you're stuck and you've lost the confidence, you've lost you, you've lost your hobbies, you've lost the connection with your friends, you've lost the connection with who you want to become. If you've lost you and you want to become you again, click the next video here on this YouTube channel, wherever it's going to be, to go find yourself again and get your mojo back. All right. We'll see you in the next video. Hit subscribe, hit like, and share this with somebody that you know that might be in burnout today.